The next item on the agenda is the minutes of the council meeting from July 21st. Any comments or questions on any of those minutes? All right. Next, we have comments and suggestions from citizens present. Do you mind handing those to the clerk, please? Jason? Mr. Mitchell, if you will just state your name and address for us, please.
Sure. Jason Mitchell, was here last time. My address is 211 East Leonard Street. I don't get mail there, so if you do send me out stuff by mail, you need to get my P.O. box. Anyway, want to bring forward again my concern about being able to use my own property. But before I mention a few items, I do want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to meet and conduct business as a city. Okay, we're all very busy, and I want to thank you each. Okay, I don't mean that lightly either. Anyway, this past January I was issued a letter via the building inspections, and they said I was not in compliance with a ordinance, and I can't remember the ordinance number, but it regards to parking trailers on your property. A number of years ago, I added onto my driveway with a permit telling the city what I wanted to do, and they granted me that permit. And now they're telling me I cannot use my driveway for the intended use. I know we talked yesterday, but that's the first time we talked since really one-on-one since June. And we need to move forward with this. I get that. You mentioned that you gave me another grace period of 45 days, and I thank you for that. But we need to get this resolved and changed. Whether it's a boat trailer, whether it's a utility trailer, whether it's an enclosed trailer, it shouldn't matter. I cannot drive that around back in my backyard. But the ordinance says I can only have one in front of my house or garage at any given time. I talked to Mr. Moss, Jacob Moss, the engineer, and he said, well, we didn't grant you the variance back in, I think that was June, with this whole COVID thing. I was supposed to do it back in April, and everyone's schedules got messy. But anyway, they didn't grant me the variance, and when I talked to him a couple weeks ago, he mentioned that I can add a garage door on the back of my garage and drive my, whether it's a boat, whether it's a smaller trailer, I can put that in the backyard. But I have one problem. My garage door on the front of the garage isn't tall enough for my truck. So then I might as well just tear down the garage, correct? And park the trailers in the backyard. I don't want to do that. I don't want to devalue my property. I'm just asking, I spent thousands of dollars to add on my driveway so I didn't have to park on the grass years ago. I'm asking for permission to use my driveway. I mentioned to Mayor McFarland yesterday over the phone. In order to get compliance by August 4th, which is today, I can park legally a truck and trailer on the road, but do I really want to tick off my neighbors? Do I? I got a 40-some foot wide driveway. Why do I want to tick off my neighbors? Okay, I'm just throwing these out. April of 2018. I don't have the dates in front of me, but I got the paperwork out in the truck. I can run through that with any of you if you want. My blue truck, the back of it, the window was smashed in. My neighbor called me. We had a light snowfall that morning, and he says, Jason, looks like your truck window is broke. It was parked out on the road. And sure enough, it was broke. I reported at that time, I believe it was Chief Rhodes and the police station. And I am almost positive I know who did that. If I had cameras up, I guarantee you I could pinpoint the person who did it. I have a vindictive neighbor. Lori Hoffman sat here last city council meeting. She mentioned something about vindictive neighbors. Anyway, a month later, after that incident with my blue truck, my white truck, and I went down to the police station, reported all this, my white truck windshield was cracked. The same morning that it was cracked, I found this rock on my driveway. And I'll let you all look at it in person and go into my neighborhood, drive around all the blocks in my neighborhood, and see who has this color landscaping. And I'll put money on it that it is the vindictive neighbor across the street. And I'm not a betting man. You look at this rock in the daylight with the sun shining on it, and it has little reflective metal in it, kind of, right? Okay. It matches his landscaping. After that incident, I put cameras up in every single window. I spent almost $1,000 on a surveillance system. And now I'm told I can't use my driveway. I can catch the criminal if you let me use my driveway and they vandalize my stuff. I can catch them. I got audio-visual and I got visual cameras. So yesterday rolled around, I got the runaround. This person said I had to touch base with this person. I was on the phone for over 4 hours dealing with people in the city. And I'm bringing this to you as I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But I'm bringing it because all I'm doing is getting a runaround. No one can answer me. Legally, I can park my truck and trailer on the road. Illegally, I can't park the trailer on the road with a vehicle hooked up to it. Is that correct, Mr. Kamansky?
Sounds close, yes.
Okay, so I asked Mayor McFarland if I could park my truck and trailer on the driveway with a trailer on my driveway. She couldn't answer that one for me. She did agree to have a letter sent to my alderperson, which is Cassandra Wagner, and we are going to try to move forward with this ordinance or change of ordinance so I can properly use my property the way it was intended. And like I said, I expressed these concerns because what did we just get done celebrating last month? Beginning of the month. I've asked several people that. Several of them said 4th of July. Others said Independence Day. Okay? We should have a little bit of independence. My stuff does not look white trash. It does not look hillbilly or redneck. You can go outside and look at my truck outside right now. I got a gray trailer hooked up to it right now. It's not all beat up and holes in it and everything. And everything's contained inside it. So I just ask that when you make new ordinances, sign in new laws and stuff, to think of others too. And I appreciate your time. Again, appreciate you letting me speak and my concerns. Whoa, a little bit of feedback there. And I'll be glad to meet with any and every one of you after. I'd be glad to talk. I talked to probably 6 of you all in the last month, the last several weeks. And everyone that I talked to says I do have a valid point here. But to tear down my garage so that I can park a trailer in the backyard is foolish. I mean, it's absolutely foolish. Or to add a garage door on the back of the garage when my truck is too tall for the garage door on the front. I mean, common sense. Right? So, again, thank you for your time. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Do you have a chance to comment at the end of the meeting as well? I just don't want to move on if you were planning on, nope. All right, We have no public hearing this evening. Next is committee reports. We have the Finance Committee from July 27th, Plan Commission from July 27th, and Public Works from July 28th. Questions or comments on any of these minutes? All right. Next, we have no old business. We'll go to communications and recommendations. We have the appointment for poll workers for the August 11th partisan primary. This is the item that was placed on your desks this evening. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve all appointments.
Thank you. Motion by Ritten,
I'll second.
seconded by Schmidt. Any comments on those? Mr. Schmidt, did you still have a question? Something about the chief inspectors?
Yes, did you have enough chief inspectors locally? Okay, that was my only question.
Okay. And I see Mr. Pash has just arrived in the go-to meeting.
Good evening. Sorry for my delay.
No problem. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the the poll worker appointments. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Very good. Next is a COVID-19 update. I'm going to take this off just for a moment to, because I'm going to speak a lot. So in the typical cadence that we've been doing, Carol and I kind of try to alternate each month. Carol provides more of the health and scientific information. I provide very little of that and provide more of the operational updates on COVID. You got to know your strengths. So this is mine. Well, the other one isn't. I'll say it that way. So the little bit I will share that isn't pertaining to operations with COVID are the updated numbers that Carol typically provides. We've had 3,533 total investigations. 168 of those have been confirmed. Of that 168, 9% have been hospitalized. We still have the 5 probable cases, which again we expect to remain as such. We have 82 suspect cases, 3,129 that were not a case or negative. 150 have recovered, and right now we have 169 open contacts that are correlated to those positive cases. Our age ranges continue to be, the biggest age ranges are still 20 to 29 and 30 to 39, so that younger age demographic. We are starting to see a little bit of growth in the 10 to 19 age range as well. So those are updates on our numbers. Staffing-wise, I told you all, the emergency declaration that we have here allows us to get around some of the procedural elements of our handbook for hiring, and I promised you all that I would bring these updates to you because you're not seeing them at committee. So we have hired 4 part-time staff to assist the health department, primarily with contact tracing. 2 of them are former nurses. One of them is a longstanding Spanish-speaking translator for the department and for the city. And one is a woman who has worked with our Seal a Smile program, so someone who's very aware and compliant with HIPAA and health information requirements. We have had a seasonal worker for the summer who works with Park and Rec on the weekends, and she's a public health student at the University of Minnesota, and so she's been working as well at the health department. As you saw and you just approved, we've been doing a lot of work for the election and just ensuring that we have our cleaning protocols ready for the election. Hopefully you all saw the report that Milwaukee County, I believe it was Milwaukee County, coupled with the CDC on reporting after the April election and if there was a correlation to an uptick in cases, and thankfully they did not see that there, which was great news, and it speaks to all the work I think that went into planning these elections and having cleaning protocols and all the work that we did in April, where we've been planning for the election next week as well. Obviously, a little bit lower turnout is expected for the partisan primary in August, especially here. Ours has far less contested races on the ballot this time around. The Finance Committee will be getting an update, I believe, next week on the COVID-19 Small Business Grant. So watch the minutes if you're not on the committee, or attend if you'd like, if you're interested in that update. We have received an allocation of just under 390,000 for the CARES funding through the state. And we've reported on this a couple of times from a higher level, and as more time goes by, and this DOA and the governor's office get more comfortable with the guidance that was coming down from the feds, more is coming out about what that money can be used for. Unfortunately, it still can't be used for, things like staffing. Even though the health department is spending a lot of time on COVID, well, that's a bad example. Let me take that back. I'll walk that one back. Even though the city attorney is helping quite a bit from time to time with COVID, because she was a regular expense for us, we can't claim her to that reimbursement. So if we were to do outside legal counsel, someone completely new who we, talked to with our COVID-related questions, that person would hypothetically be reimbursable under the CARES money. So we've been spending some time working through that and trying to understand where we get the best bang for the buck with that allocation that we've been provided. Whatever we don't use, I believe by the November reimbursement cycle, the state is reallocating. So we have been spending some time as a team looking at things like, things truthfully that will help us right now, but will be helpful in any influenza season. Think like defoggers for our large rooms like this. Otherwise, I walk around or Cable walks around and cleans each one of your spaces after you leave. So those are like defoggers, UV lights. There are some IT items that are potentially eligible for reimbursement. So we're looking at ways that we can use that funding creatively. And even though it is the CARES funding, we'll follow our usual purchasing policy unless it's emergent, but I don't foresee that happening right now. So if it would otherwise come to Finance Committee for approval, it will. We'll follow the purchasing policy guidelines for those expenses. So all that to say, we're trying to be very creative and figure out and study the different ways that we can use this allocation of money so that we're not passing it back for other municipalities in our state to use. Obviously, the mask mandate came out late last week. I was sharing with Alderperson who went before the meeting. We found out about that about 10 minutes before it came out on the news. So we didn't have a whole lot of heads up on that one. We have signs that we have up, and we shared the information with the public as we did during all of Safer at Home. So I suspect that will be the extent of us sharing information on the mask mandate. We are, and Chief Kaminsky and I have talked about this a handful of times, with any of the response that we've had during COVID, with whether it was Safer at Home or this mask mandate, our goal is really to educate. We're not looking to cite people. It's not the approach that we want to take then and we want to take now. So we're really hoping for voluntary compliance. I think anecdotally we've seen a lot more people masking. So our goal here is to educate, and we have a minimal staffing of 4, Chief? Minimum staff of 4, and we have a big city to cover. So we will continue to prioritize our work for enforcement the way that we always do. So we have had, I would say, into the health department and into dispatch, probably around 30 complaints about businesses. But they're probably falling within the same handful or so or less of businesses. So any questions besides what businesses? Because I'm not going to share that publicly. But any questions?
No, I do have one on the funding usage. So at the Board of Health, that we got to go through the line items of what the COVID or the CARES funding can be used for. Are we able to use any of that funding or allocations that we've been granted to cover the expenses of the new hires for the health department that are specifically tied to COVID? Does that cover their cost?
Yes. So the comments that I shared with you, and I should have clarified, so thank you for doing that. There's specific, and that's why I rolled back my comment about Carol's team. There's specific money that went directly to health departments that cover these exact expenses. The ones I'm relating to is like the $389,000 the city as in a whole was allocated, not just the health department.
Okay, so
to answer
this-
your question, yes.
Yes, okay. The 5 items that we reviewed at Board of Health are tied directly to the health department. You're
Correct.
talking about other monies to the city.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. So thank you for clarifying. Ms. Kelly?
So who made the decision not to enforce the law about the face masks?
Chief, do you want to answer that? Otherwise I can. I would say we're not enforcing.
We're not enforcing it right now, we're just doing education like we would with any other.
So I've got a few phone calls of people calling, and they're upset because businesses aren't following it.
Yeah.
And they're getting the runaround from when they come to City Hall or to the police department, and they want to know just who made the decision, and I need to direct them to somebody.
Yeah, so I took, no one, I have one phone call from someone about masking so far, to me personally. And we've had less than 5 into dispatch. So, and those 5 were answered, and the one I got was late in the day today. But to answer your question, even during Safer at Home, when we would receive questions about businesses, we went to the business and talked to them about what compliance with the mandate looks like. What we know about the way this order was worded, and I confirmed it today with the governor's second attorney, her name is Molly. This order has no application to businesses.
Correct.
It has an application to individuals. So if, for example, McFarland Grocery Store is saying to people, if you're not wearing a mask, I assume that you meet one of the exemptions, do what you want. The police department can't come to me as the owner and say, Emily, you need to be doing this. They would talk to each individual person in the store who wasn't masking. That was the way that they explained it to us on the call today.
Correct, it's not a mask mandate on businesses. Businesses are not required to ask questions. Businesses are not required to provide masks to customers. So any business that we've gotten complaints on, there's no enforcement action that can be done with a business. It's an individual mandate. If you read the mandate, it's on individuals 5 years of age and up. So it's on a person to wear a mask, not on the business to require it. Now, certain businesses, Pick and Save and other places, just, throwing a name out there, it's a private business. They can require whatever they want in the way of masks. They can tell customers, you have to wear a mask to come into our business. And if the person doesn't follow that because that's their store policy and that's what they're requiring, then they could be subject to an arrest for trespassing. Not for not wearing the mask, but for trespassing because they are a private business and they can require that. So if we do have any conversations with businesses, it's just educational as well, that there is a mandate just to make sure that the business is aware of it, but we can't require the business to do anything to enforce it on customers or employees. They're not required to ask why you're not wearing a mask, because if you have one of the exemptions, a medical condition or something like that, you are exempt from wearing a mask.
So any employee inside a store doesn't have to wear any mask because it's not covered?
I'm not an expert on the mandate. All I can say is that it's not a requirement of the employer to be asking questions of customers or anything like that, because there are exemptions to the mandate.
So should I be directing the phone calls to you or to the mayor?
You can direct them to me if you'd like. I
Okay.
can try and answer what I can.
Okay.
But again, we're not the experts on it, but we'll do our best. But I can't require a business to make people wear the mask.
Okay, I just need to know who to direct
You
them
can
to.
direct them to the chief, either the chief or I. Frankly, with the
Okay.
5 that have happened, we connect on them anyway. So if it comes to me, I'll end up talking to him anyway.
Okay,
So either one is fine.
okay.
But to date, I think, unless the number changed, I don't know if you checked the dispatch numbers today, but when we talked about it yesterday, we were at 5. And then I
And I
received
think
one,
it's 3 on businesses.
and I received one today.
Well, I mean, this person, the one person came in and you were in a meeting and there wasn't, and you weren't available at the police department. That was yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
it very well could be. I know that the person that came in for me yesterday spoke to someone in the clerk's office. So I know they spoke to someone. That's normally the protocol that we have, is that they ask for me and they need something immediate, that someone in the clerk's office ends up talking with them. But you can send them my way.
okay.
Any other questions? Huh? Okay. All right. We have no new business, so the next item is the accounts payable.
I'll move to approve all accounts payable.
Thank you. Motion by Ritten,
I'll second.
seconded by Schmidt. Any questions on the accounts? Melissa? Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holdhouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
All right. Our next item is the reports and miscellaneous business. We have the Board of Review from July 23rd, Branding Committee from July 9th, Main Street Program from June 16th, Park Recreation and Forestry from July 7th, the RDA from July 14th, Site Plan from July 13th and 27th, the Transit Commission of July 21st. Any questions from anyone or comments in any of those meeting minutes? I'll give you some time to look because I have a lot of pages to turn. Our next item is ordinances. We have ordinance 20-19. This is to amend chapter 550 of the zoning code through creation of section 550-56AB, outdoor commercial entertainment incidental to indoor commercial entertainment. This is here from me and the Plan Commission on the first reading. Is there a motion on this one?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2019.
Motion by Went, seconded by Bartz. Any questions?
The only comment I have is that it's the wrong older people at the bottom of it for approval.
Got it.
It's got Muddler, Tortomasi, and
We'll get that changed. Jacob, you need to change your ordinance template. He's got it. Are you good, Elissa? If I ask you to call her, okay, Elissa. When?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Just call on the roll.
Oh, aye.
Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holdhouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Cash. Cash? Oh, was he froze?
He's broke.
He looks froze.
Right. Motion carries. I'm going to let him know that he is no longer with us. Right, next is ordinance 2020. This is to amend chapter 550 of the zoning code through creation of section 550-34C, paren 1, paren N, accessory land uses permitted by right, outdoor commercial entertainment, incidental to indoor commercial entertainment. This is here from me and the Plan Commission on the first reading. If you're asking yourself, what is it? It's just a housekeeping item that attaches to the one you just approved.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2020.
Thank you. Motion
I'll
by Britton.
second.
Who was that? Oh, thank you. I don't know why I can't hear where anyone's coming from. Seconded by Holthouse. Thank you.
Just the same note on this one, the template on the bottom for all the
Yes,
people's
I
wrong.
see that. Thank you. All right. Comments, questions? Elissa? Ritten?
Aye.
Barth?
Aye.
Holthouse?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Wetzel?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Cash? Went?
Aye.
All right, next is resolutions. We have Exhibit 9057. This is a resolution to approve a contract with ZBM for the municipal building cleaning services. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve exhibit 9057.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ritten, seconded by Wagner. Any questions on this one? All right, Melissa. Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Hill,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
All right, next is Exhibit 9058. This is a resolution to approve a contract with Watertown Unified School District for the school resource officers. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll I'll move to approve Exhibit 9058.
Motion by Ritten,
Second.
seconded by Wetzel. Any comments or questions?
Just one. Chief, this is essentially the same thing we had last year.
It's exactly the same contract for the two school resource officers, one in the high school, one in the middle school.
Okay.
Any other questions? Elissa? Ritten,
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Hill,
No.
Cash,
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
All right. Next is Exhibit 9059. This is a resolution to contract with Universal Recycling Technologies. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move for 9059.
Thank you. Motion by Wetzel,
Second?
seconded by Holthouse. Questions on this one?
I do. So for the e-waste, did they submit a method of which they're going to recycle? Or are they just going to ship it internationally and hope it gets done right?
You know, I told Randy he didn't have to come to this meeting tonight.
Because the reason I ask is because e-cycling is a huge issue when it was in California. And that was a point of contention for a lot of people, is the way e-cycling is treated. So I want to make sure that if we're doing it, we can do so in clean conscience, that we're actually doing the right thing here.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
And I apologize. I literally said, oh, it'll be fine, because he just said this item.
The contract doesn't specify, I can say that for certain. The contract is not specific.
Thank you, Rose. So the contract does not specify one way or the other.
Okay.
I will ask Randy to follow up with you tomorrow, though.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments on this one? Elissa? Wetzel?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
Cash?
Aye.
Went?
Aye.
Ritten?
Aye.
Barth?
Aye.
Holthouse?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
All right, next is Exhibit 9060. This is a resolution authorizing the city to apply for the DNR Urban Forestry Grant. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Pash,
I'll second.
seconded by Holthouse. Any questions? This is our usual run-of-the-mill grant we apply for each year. It is a match grant. One of the ways we fund our forestry. Elissa? Cash?
Aye.
Went?
Aye.
Ritten?
Aye.
Barth?
Aye.
Holthouse?
Aye.
Wagner?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Wetzel?
Aye.
Hill?
Aye.
All right, very good. Next is Exhibit 9061. This is a resolution in support of the Dodge County Broadband Expansion Grant application. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9061.
Motion by Ritten,
I'll second it.
seconded by Wagner. If you were here with us last year, Dodge County applied for this grant. They didn't receive it, so they're applying again this year. They just like letters of support from municipalities. Any other questions on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, very good. Next is Exhibit 9062, and depending upon if you have the most recent agenda, which I think you all do, if not, I am saying this correctly. Exhibit 9062 pertains to a resolution to approve change order number 2 for the 2020 bituminous surfacing project with Wolf Paving. This is here from Alderman Pash and Public Works.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9062.
Motion by Holthouse,
second.
seconded by Bartz. Any questions on this one? All right, Elissa. Holthouse,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Barth.
Aye.
Thank you. And then our last resolution is Exhibit 9063. This is a resolution to approve change order 1 with Rupert Milkie for this citywide storm sewer as-built project. This is here from Alderman Pash and Public Works.
I'll make a motion to approve Exhibit 9063.
Thank you.
Will second.
Pash, seconded by Wetzel. Questions or comments? All right, Elisa. Pash.
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
Rich.
Abstain.
Barth.
Aye.
Holthouse.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Wetzel.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye.
All right, very good. Our next item is comments and suggestions from citizens present. Anything from either of you two gentlemen before I move on? All right. If you would please, yep, come to the microphone and just state your name and address.
I'm Russ Krieger, 300 South Church Street, been here since 1983. I get very concerned when I hear of people's properties being limited with such ease. And I think we truly have to be careful, because when you start doing that, you cause a great deal of cost to people. And if you're talking about people who serve and who serve the community, which is what I do for a living and have for a very long time, if my costs go up, that means it costs the community more. And being able to use my property appropriately, or in his case, it's very, very important, because those people that do the kinds of work that we do are essential. And if you start causing it to have to be larger businesses that can provide it, because the small guys can't be there, the costs of this become enormous. And there's reality to be concerned here. So I think it's very important that we're careful about how we do this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Seeing none, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Schmidt,
I'll second that.
seconded by Wagner. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, very good. Thank you, everybody. Yes, it was, did you get the address?